30 seconds and counting. 25 seconds and counting. We are still go. 20 seconds. Guidance alert. The guidance system now going internal. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to The Angry Astronaut. Good evening to my viewers in Europe, and good very early morning to the folks in the Pacific Rim. Once again, we're going to be talking about Starship today, but before we do that, I want to give first of all, where is everybody checking in from? Number one. Number two, we are also hopefully going to be counting down either the last or close to the last subscribers that we need to get to 100K. I really didn't think that I was going to be talking about something like that today. I didn't think that this was all going to be happening so quickly, but I've added 3,700 new subscribers in 28 days. I don't think I've ever done that before. So that just blows my mind. Thank you very much. By the way, let's go ahead and check in Texas, Georgia, Reno, Nevada, Louisiana, Israel, Mission, Texas, Tennessee, Nevada, Hamburg, Atlanta Metro. Hello, just down the street. Thank you, Anton Nim, for getting the super chat started. You're fantastic. Uranus, Massachusetts, Alaska, Stockholm. Hello. What else we got? Richmond, Virginia, Hawaii. Hello, Hawaii. West Palm Beach, Nashville, Germany. Hello, Germany. Yes, less than 500 to go. Poland. Hello, Oregon. Yeah, a little bit of followers since like 10,000. A lot of you have. Thank you so much for being long-term supporters. Pennsylvania, Poland, Palm Beach, Florida, Bulgaria. We got France, Italy, Daniel Whitehouse. Oh, we got 10 quid coming in from Chris Mull. Thank you for the tenor, my friend. Really do appreciate it. Connecticut. Let's see what we got. Phoenix, Switzerland, West Virginia, Missouri, or Missouri, depending on what part of the country you live in. Germany, Milky Way, Portland, Oregon. Hello, back to Dorset. Lovely area, by the way. I love Dorset. Titusville. I love Titusville, too. Oregon, Huntsville, Bulgaria. Andy in Alaska. Thank you for the $1 super chat. Really nice of you. More on Tabby Star. You know something? I've got something in mind for that or something similar. Louisiana, France. Hello. Really do appreciate it. Lincolnshire. Who else we got? Manchester. Hello, Manchester. Eastern Washington. Boy, just people watching. Cape Town. Hello, Cape Town. My daughter is so fond of your country. She stayed in South Africa for 6 weeks, staying with a lot of local families and such during a university trip there, and really, really loves South Africa. And really did a lot of schoolwork there, actually learning a lot about your history, learning about some of the social challenges that the African continent in general has, and also spent some time in an AIDS camp while she was there. So really got to see kind of the length and breadth of the experience in that region of the world. And it was a very interesting thing for her, really kind of broadened her perspective. I've never been to Africa at all, so I'm kind of envious, to be honest. Tennessee, thank you so much. People just coming in everywhere. Kent, hello. New York, SPI Holiday Inn Beach Resort, hello. Thank you so much for being part of this. let's see what else we got. Tabby Star. Hello, Tabby Star. All right. So, just to give you guys a quick update on one of the things we're going to be talking about, a couple of things actually. We just dropped below 400 subscribers left to get to 100K. We now have 399 to go. 399 and we hit 100K, something that I did not even begin to expect at this stage in the game. Like I say, well, almost 4,000 new subscribers in 28 days. Mind blowing how many people, how many new viewers I have. Thank you so much for being a part of this. We got a new super chat coming in from Marsky. Thank you so much for your support. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Thanks so much. We got over 200 people. And like I say, I know that about 30%, between 25 and 30% of the people who watch my live streams are not subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe now. We could, in theory, get to that 100K during this broadcast. And man, would that be an amazing thing if that were to happen. Got some special things planned, by the way, for the 100K celebration. Something to make everybody happy. I'm going to have a Starliner video where I'm going to slam on Boeing. I'm going to have a 100K Blue Origin video where I'm going to slam on their general lack of progress, in spite of the fact that they keep getting money from NASA, even though they make pathetic progress. I'm going to do an alien video. I've got something, and a lot of you guys are going to scoff, but it's a Death Star alien megastructure. And I know that may blow your mind and it may sound absolutely ridiculous, but there is tangible astronomical evidence to suggest that something like that may be out there. We detected something like that appears to be orbiting a nearby star. Kind of mind-blowing, and I've got evidence to support it. But in any event, those for the alien fans, we got that for you as well. All kinds of crazy stuff developing. And by the way, the UFO video that I turned out recently has been getting insane amounts of support, mostly from new viewers, from people who don't know who I am. We've got a lot of new people checking it out. And usually I don't report on UFOs at all. I've never regarded UFOs as being a serious enough topic to talk about because there isn't enough tangible evidence to support their existence. But this recent report from the Pentagon put out by Avi Loeb, which blows my mind. The Pentagon would never have let Avi Loeb near a report 10 years ago, indicates a change in philosophy. And if you have a change in philosophy, it indicates that maybe there might be something going on with that. So exciting stuff across the board. Over 234 people watching. Once again, guys, please subscribe. Boy, we just jumped up another 7 subscribers. 392 to go. Boy, we are so close right now. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Starship. Once again, that topic coming up over and over and over again. And yeah, Elon just made another announcement. And man, I'll tell you, one thing that makes me really angry at this point is the big, media articles that come out. Elon Musk has big news about SpaceX. What? That he says it's going to launch in a few weeks? That's big news. Seriously? I mean, anybody who's ever accused me of clickbaiting, the media is 100 times worse than that. What else is new? I mean, come on. We get this kind of stuff from Elon constantly. Every few months, Elon will tweet that we're, a month or two away from launch. It happens continuously. And there is no reason to believe that this is any more serious. What we need is a launch date to be announced. And there has been information coming across from SpaceX that they are indeed going to make an announcement of the launch date. And that announcement is going to come after they get their FAA license. And I have a feeling that they're not going to launch the launch date within like 5 or 6 days of the FAA license being granted. I have a feeling they're going to give several weeks worth of lead time because it's going to take a lot to make this work properly, to make it work the way they want it to work. And by the way, I was before Elon even made this announcement a week ago, I was so confident that this wasn't going to be happening in March that I made arrangements with Dynetics to go see the latest on their Alpaca human landing system for the moon. And I arranged to do that a week from today. In other words, still in March. I was that certain that it wasn't going to happen. And I set that up. And thanks to your support, by the way, I'm going to be going there. I've nearly raised the support that I'm looking for. If you want to support that in particular, it's best to do it through PayPal and Patreon because super chats, I'm not going to get those for a month and a half. Of course, super chats still help me in a huge way, and thank you so much for those. But the other links are going to help me out with Dynetics if you want to support that. Like I say, I don't need very much. I would say $200 and I'll be there. So thank you so much for all that. Let's stop talking about raising money and let's get back on to Starship. So once again, I mean, what's the deal? Why does Elon keep doing this? Well, who knows how the guy's mind works, right? I just think that he always talks about the world as he wishes it was, right? He wishes that Starship would launch in a few weeks. In a perfect world, that's how he would like to see it happen. But given the fact that he has said over and over and over again that technically Starship will be ready in a month, technically Starship will be ready in 2 months, etc., and it isn't, just indicates that it is very much the kind of world he wants to see, but it's not the kind of world that's actually going to happen. Ron, thank you so much for the $20 super chat. Thanks a lot. Really do appreciate your support and everybody's support today. Like I say, lots of stuff coming up for me in the next 2 months. Dynetics, orbital launch of Starship, and Vulcan Centaur. Crazy stuff coming up. And by the way, if you want some merch associated with the 100K challenge, and if you want to show your support for Vulcan or for Starship, I've got Team Vulcan and Team Starship merchandise, and that's going to be linked in the description after this broadcast is finished. I've got those shirts out there, and I've got some on order myself. By the way, right now, Team Starship has the lead on that merchandise by one shirt. One. So Team Vulcan, they're making their voice heard as well. So in any event, it's very interesting to see how that's developing. So here's one of the biggest developments, one of the biggest surprises as to what's going. And we just had Team Starship pop up there. Thanks so much, there, producer, for putting that up there. Team Starship and Team Vulcan available in my store. So for those of you, wondering, well, what's happening? I mean, how do we even know that we're anywhere close? Well, just recently, and once again, this shows that Starship was not in any kind of position to launch in March. There was just a whole bunch of new equipment that has arrived for the noise suppression system, for the sound suppression system. Obviously, they had no intention of launching until this stuff was actually on site. So, and this was only spotted a couple of days ago. That obviously still needs to be installed. I would assume it also pretty much needs to be tested a bit before they're going to try to launch anything utilizing that system if they are building a more robust sound suppression system, which is a very good idea. Well, hell, that's kind of something they should have done from the beginning, and something that absolutely needs to be completed if they want to actually get off the ground. So all of that definitely needs to be the case as well. How busy will South Padre Island get on that day? Insane. Absolutely insane. It's going to be packed with people. It's going to be an overwhelming. I mean, the second that we get a launch date, we absolutely need to set up a reservation. Fortunately, I have a supporter, a very, very nice man in Massachusetts, who is helping me out, giving me some bonus miles and such, and actually sets up my reservations for me. and he's keeping his finger on the pulse of what's going on in Boca Chica. And the moment we get any sort of launch date, boom, I'm going to have reservations for a hotel, rental car, etc. The good news is the rental car I'm going to get out of Houston, so I'm not going to have to worry about competing with a million other people for rental cars. Instead, I'll be flying into Houston and then just driving from there. I think that is a better idea indeed. BN9 have cryoproofing soon? Yes, I think so, because we've just added engines to BN9, and I think that cryoproofing BN9 is very important. As a matter of fact, I also think that it's very possible that Booster 9 is going to be carrying the first orbital launch. I think it's a better idea. B7, as many people have observed, has been through all kinds of hell during the testing process. It's really been extremely difficult. And I'd say it's taken a great deal of metal fatigue and stress. I'd be surprised, and I've said this many times, I'll be very surprised if it's the one that actually heads to orbit. I think they'll use it for something, just as I'm sure they're going to use S-24 for something, especially given the fact that they just added the last of the thermal tiles to S-24. That took a long time, by the way, for them finally to get around to that. I think that, S-24 may go to orbit. I think it's more likely that they may do a suborbital flight with S-24 to see how well the heat shield holds up under the stress of a launch. Once again, keep in mind that there are lots of suborbital flights that were approved under the PEA. Quite a few. What are they going to use them for? I would say they're going to use them for tests like this, reasonable, conservative suborbital flights just to test some of the systems. And the heat shield is a very important part of that. So what I'm hoping is we're going to be seeing a lot more launches from Boca Chica than just orbital stuff. I think we're going to see a lot of suborbital tests in order to prove the viability of the equipment and the technology. And I think that's going to be important for the FAA as well. What minimum can we consider to be a successful Starship first launch? Get the ship past max Q. That's my opinion. Get it past max Q. And that, by the way, is considered to be a success in the relativity space world as well. And the reason for that is it's a brand new rocket system, brand new propulsion system, so many things. The propulsion system has not been tested to full power or 90% power or anything like that. And Gwen Shotwell has also made it very clear that she will be happy if it gets clear of the launch site, gets far enough away to where it's not going to create any damage. And I think that's a reasonable expectation. There are so many components of this rocket that have not been tested to failure. This is not SLS. It hasn't been tested, and tons of money spent on it, and a green run executed, and everything else. It's not the same thing. Wesley Clark, thank you so much for the $20. How long until the Starship is human flight rated, in my opinion? 2026, 2027, and that's the earliest. And that means we'll be really pushing to meet the expectations and the requirements for Artemis 3. I think it's going to be really, really difficult. Now, there is no other human landing system that's going to be capable of being human rated and landing on the moon prior to 2027 anyway. And 2027 is the earliest. And the reason for that, of course, is not necessarily because of the competitors, it's because of Congress, right? We all know that Congress didn't give enough money to fund two competitive HLS solutions. They eventually did it, but that took a lot of time. And during that time, none of those companies were aggressively working on it. And so as a result, neither Dynetics nor Blue Origin is going to be able to complete any kind of, viable HLS system until 2027 at the earliest, and quite possibly 2028. But once again, I think Starship could be hard pressed to get to that point as well. I think it's going to be tight no matter what. Let's see here. Just a space truck like Starship hoisting large loads in orbit will make Elon. Yeah, James, I think you're right. I think it can make him a very rich man indeed. Just launching the number of Starlinks that are going to be necessary in order to build that. I think just that will make Elon quite a wealthy person. But one person commented on one of my videos yesterday saying, I still don't understand why anyone would want to go to Mars. It's like Everest, but worse and all that, the same kind of arguments that are usually used. One of the things that I pointed out, anybody who goes to Mars, any solid that gets established on Mars, if they play their cards right, they're going to be the richest people in human history. And the reason is that the delta V from Mars is so much lower than it is from Earth. They will be able to exploit the asteroid belt much more easily than we can here on Earth. As a result, if they can exploit the asteroid belt, they will have a monopoly on rare metals, rare earths. There's so much of that available in the asteroid belt, super valuable stuff. And if they have a stranglehold on that stuff, they will get insanely rich. So in any event, that I'd say that's one of the biggest benefits to establishing a colony on Mars. It's not about the distance to the asteroid belt, it's about the delta V. The delta V is so low from Mars that it is much easier and much less expensive to exploit the asteroid belt from Mars than it is from Earth. Okay, let's do a quick check. Boy, we have over 300 people watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. Quick check on subscribers. We now have 300. We have 392 to go, guys. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe now, or tell your family to, tell your kids to, whatever, because we're almost at 100K, guys. So close. 392 subscribers to that all important 100K. Once again, did not think I was going to be getting this close. Thank you so much. Please please subscribe. And for all of you supporting what I've been doing lately on Patreon, on PayPal, and in Super Chats, thank you so much for all that, because I've got lots coming up at Dynetics and also Boca Chica, and finally Cape Canaveral for Vulcan Centaur. All right, let's get back to it. Oh boy, gifted 5 angry astronaut memberships from Wicked. You got a membership. You got a membership. You got a membership. Wow, Wicked keeps doing this, by the way, does it week after week. Thank you so much for doing this, adding all kinds of new people to our community on Discord. You will get an invitation today telling you how to join our Discord server. On the members page on YouTube. Just check members on YouTube and you will get a notification as to how to join the Discord server, and you will become part of our little community. And by the way, that applies to everybody who supports me through Patreon and PayPal as well. You can also become part of the Discord server. It just goes with the support. And that again comes that the benefits of that, of course, aside from talking to me, if you really wanted to, you could also talk to people who are on my Discord server who are directly associated in the spaceflight industry, people who work directly for companies in the industry. Very exciting group of people and very knowledgeable, super knowledgeable bunch. If you want to get a lot of inside information on what's going on in the space industry, let me tell you something. A lot of my topics and a lot of my information that for my videos, it comes from these people. I certainly don't know all this stuff. So it's me. What else we got here? Angry watched the video about, man, it's a great video. Made some good points. NASA should go to this area. Thank you, Barney. I appreciate that. For those of you who haven't tuned into that, a new discovery was made in the area of the Noctis Labyrinthus, the Labyrinth of Night region of Mars, and there is a very large subsurface iceberg there. Not iceberg, but glacier. billions and billions of tons of water ice there that at least we think is there, and in a perfect location to establish a colony. Is just a huge way. Once again, if you are not, oh, and just got a huge super chat, by the way. Joe, thank you so much. Ellie in space, yes, that one quick notification. She has received a great deal of support, but could definitely use more given the fact that medical bills are crazy right now. But Ellie in space broke her leg falling off of while she was rock climbing. For those of you who don't know who Ellie in space is, she is a very strong supporter of mine and also a YouTuber herself. Does great content about disruptive technologies, and she was rock climbing and fell and suffered a very serious injury. Has a rod in her leg now, that sort of thing. Please, pay her a visit and support her as well, because she could definitely use it. No question, as far as that's concerned. Oh, the tattoo again. Okay, here's the thing. First, got to get to 100K, but I'm nearly there right now. Subscribe if you have not subscribed. Okay, first got to get there. Secondly, if Starship carries out a successful orbital test, and when I say successful orbital test, it doesn't have to land. It just has to launch, get to orbit to where, to Hawaii, and at least attempt to come down. So as long as it manages all of that, that's a successful orbital test in my book. And Vulcan, if Vulcan beats it there, in other words, if it delivers Peregrine to the moon before Starship can do that, then I win the bet. If Starship pulls it off first, then I lose the bet and I have to tattoo SpaceX fanboy on my ass. And that's just always been there. Always taken that risk, always put my ass on the line on that one. But I've always felt that Vulcan had a better chance of getting to space first, but you never can tell. All right, now at 99,611 subscribers, now 389 subscribers away from 100K. 389 to go. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. One thing I do know is that about 30% of the people who watch my live stream are not subscribers. So I know you guys are out there, and I know there's enough of you to get me to that 100K. So if you can, please do. Supax, thank you so much for your support. If you're angry about space, subscribe to 100K. Yes, indeed. Thanks, brother. Really do appreciate your support. All right. Yeah, needles. Yeah. It's Garth. I'm not looking forward to it. If that were to happen, but hey, a deal's a deal. A bet's a bet, right? All right. So let's see here. So yeah, once again, Starship at this point, the only way I'm going to believe that anything's happening with it is if we have a launch date. And I think that there's going to be a lot of lead time on a launch date. I don't think we're going to have to, that's going to come a week before they actually take off. I think that they're going to get the FAA approval and they're going to make an announcement with some kind of lead time, because there's a lot to do. And most importantly, logistically, there's a lot to do to make sure that they can, not only get this thing off the ground, but get it off the ground safely. I mean, this is a huge exclusion zone, a gigantic exclusion zone, and there's going to be tons and tons and tons and tons of people there. It's going to be very complicated, and in order to do this successfully and safely, it's going to take some time. Let's see here. Orbital launch, they'll probably need a lot more development before and after the first launch. Yeah, that is one thing. I mean, they're adding stuff to the orbital launch stand right now. They may have learned some things about during the static fire, indicating that they needed to do some more work on the orbital launch mount. Hard to say. But in any event, boy, we have a lot of people watching right now. But and once again, we have a lot of prototypes that appear to be ready or almost ready to go, too. A lot of this is very much a shell game. Which one's going to go? We have S-24 that I've never felt is going to be the first one to go to orbit, but they just finished the heat shield. They took a long time doing it, but they finally got the heat shield done. So maybe. And then, of course, we have S-26, we have S-27, the more simplistic and stripped down prototypes that bear a greater resemblance to lunar Starship. In my opinion, I think those are safer to launch to orbit your first time. You want something that's more straightforward and more simplistic from an aerodynamic standpoint your first time around, as opposed to launching a more complicated ship into orbit your first time around. I don't know, but that just seems to make sense to me. And they've added engines. They're doing what seems to be necessary in order to get one of these stripped down ships to orbit. So who knows? That's an interesting question as well. I don't know about the electric gimbaling. I'm not sure what sort of modifications have been made there. Once again, I get all of my information from folks like Ring Watchers and Starship, Gazer, Starbase, Gazer, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of people taking photographs in Boca Chica that see a lot more than I do. So I try to get that information from them. And my team members, some of them are members of Ring Watchers, that sort of thing. So they tend to be really in the loop on what's happening. And by the way, my more conservative viewpoints and my opinions about B7 and S24 largely come from them. I trust their judgment on this. I think that it's better to send a newer ship, a more modern ship, a more developed ship than one that isn't. Let's do one more check before we're going to be wrapping up today. Yeah, still haven't really added any new subscribers, unfortunately. Maybe we will as the broadcast continues today. Like I say, we're at 389, just 389 away. Boy, we had a lot of a lot of super chats suddenly came in. Steven, thank you so much for the $20. Graham, thank you so much for the 20 quid. You guys are fantastic. Really do appreciate your support. Boy, yeah, and like I say, this orbital launch is definitely coming up soon. There's no question about that. Do I believe that Elon is being straight up about an orbital time frame and that a few weeks from now it's going to launch and we should go in April? Not really. It could happen. It could happen in theory, but I don't believe it just because he says it, right? Because he said it how many times now? But instead, we got to look at what's technically possible and all. Do we have approval from the FAA yet? No, we do not. And those are very important considerations that need to be kept in mind before we think that anything's going to orbit. All of this needs to happen. And look at how ULA is doing it. They announced some time ago when their launch date was, and it's on May 4th. I mean, that's some time out, which is generally how you do these things. So it's kind of surprised. I would be surprised if SpaceX makes an announcement just a couple of weeks worth of lead time for an orbital launch. I think we will get more notice than that. By the way, we just got a little post notifying us about the Team Starship and the Team Vulcan shirts for the 100K challenge. By the way, those shirts will be gone. My 100K merch will be gone after the challenge is over. In other words, once Starship or once Vulcan wins this challenge, that merch is gone forever. So keep that in mind. Right now, as I said before, Team Starship has a one shirt lead over Team Vulcan. That's it, just one ahead. So it's a bit of a tight race right now. Very interesting. We got Vulcan fans and Starship fans making their voice heard. And as I said before, thank you so much for being a part of this today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe if you've not already done so. I'm so close, I can taste it. Just a few hundred to go at this point. And until Starship actually does take flight, until we actually have a solid launch date, which I hope is coming up very soon, I urge all of you to stay angry about space.